Hello. The people united. The people united. The people united. Hello. Show me what democracy looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. Show me what community looks like. Show me what democracy looks like. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Buenos días, familia.
Buenos días.
¿Estamos listos para luchar?
Sí.
¿Se puede?
Sí se puede.
¿Se puede?
Sí se puede. Sí se puede.
Sí se puede.
Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Sí se puede.
Thank you so much, everyone. Buenos días a todos. Good morning, everyone. My name is Trisalis de los Santos, and I'm the Baltimore Central Maryland Director here at CASA. I came to this country when I was just 12 years old from the Dominican Republic, and I'm a proud Afro-Latina. Maryland is my home. Maryland is our home. And we are here today to say we are not going to stop fighting. So here's the deal. We have until Monday to make sure that the Values Act is passed out of the Senate. The House of Delegates passed the Values Act. Why hasn't the Senate passed it yet? The racist sheriffs pushing for 287G want you to believe that this is about public safety, but it's not. 287G does not make us any safer. It separates mother from their children. It funnels immigrant, guilty or not, into ICE hands. It turns local police into local law enforcement into Trump's ICE agent, and to do Trump's dirty work.
Yes.
Our ask is very simple. We want a clean Values Act passed out of the Senate that simply ends 287G agreement. It's time to shut it down. Buenos días, familia. Mi nombre es Trisalis de los Santos y soy la directora de CASA en Baltimore, Central Maryland. Yo soy una orgullosa afrolatina que vino de República Dominicana a la edad de 12 años. Maryland es mi casa, Maryland es nuestra casa y estamos aquí para decir que no vamos a parar de luchar. Solo tenemos hasta el lunes para asegurarnos que el acto de los valores pase el Senado. Ya los delegados lo pasaron y es tiempo de que el Senado lo pase. Los alguaciles racistas que apoyan el programa de 287G quieren que nos confundamos y decir que esto es un tema de justicia pública. Y no lo es. Los tratos de 287G no hacen nuestras comunidades más seguras. Dividen familias, dividen niños de sus padres, separa nuestra comunidad y envía a inmigrantes, culpables o no, a las manos de inmigración. Esto hace que nuestra policía local se convierta en agente de Trump para que hagan su trabajo sucio. Nuestra petición es simple. Queremos que el Senado pase el acto de los valores limpio. Los contratos de 287G no ayudan a nuestra comunidad y tenemos que terminarlo.
Faites de bruit si vous venez de Cameroun. Faites de bruit si vous venez de n'importe quel pays en Afrique. Agitez vos drapeaux en l'air. With the flag in the air. Peu importe de vous avez. Vous importez, vous venez de Colombie, Ceux qui venaient de Colombia, est-ce que vous êtes là? Les gens de Honduras, est-ce que vous êtes là? De Guatemala. Les républicains, les République dominicaine. Est-ce que vous êtes là? Si vous venez au Mexique, faites du bruit. Ok. Je m'appelle Austin. Je m'appelle Austin. Ok. Si vous venez de El Salvador, faites du bruit. Et de Venezuela. Les Haïtiens. Merci beaucoup. Merci beaucoup, merci beaucoup. De quel pays? Nicaragua. Est-ce que vous êtes là? Soyez-vous la bienvenue ici.
Merci.
Ok, Ecuador is here also. Thank you. Je m'appelle Austin. Je suis un organisateur de CASA dans la communauté de Prince George's County. Et je suis un fier immigrant de Cameroun. Faites du bruit. Savez-vous que la plus grande communauté camerounaise des États-Unis se trouve ici à Maryland? Nous avons été, nous, le DPS pour le Cameroun, ensemble, et maintenant, Trump veut l'annuler. Trump veut annuler. C'est inacceptable. It is unacceptable. Nous sommes tous attaqués. We have all been attacked. Trump veut nous exposer. Trump peut importer notre origine pour importer notre statut. Mettre fin au programme 287G rendra son travail plus difficile. Nous sommes plus nombreux. Nous sommes mieux organisés. Et nous allons gagner. We are going to win. Je crois que nous allons gagner. Et je crois que nous allons gagner. Et je crois que nous avons déjà gagné. Est-ce que Amaël est là? Est-ce que vous êtes là?
Nous sommes là.
Est-ce que vous êtes là?
Nous sommes là.
Je ne vous comprends pas. Il faut faire le bruit. I believe that we will win. 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 Se puede. Se puede. Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Show me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Se puede.
Si se puede.
Se puede.
Si se puede.
If your rights are under attack, what do you do? Stand up, fight back. If your rights are under attack, what do you do?
Stand up, fight back.
If your rights are under attack, what do you do?
Stand up, fight back.
Thank you.
Now, if we could all be really quiet for a second. I want everyone's undivided attention, and I would like us to take a knee as we honor the communities that have been destroyed by this xenophobic, racist, anti-immigrant policies and mass deportation machine from this administration. Familia, quiero que tomemos un momento y nos podamos de rodillas en lo que honoramos a todas las familias que están siendo destruidas por las leyes racistas, anti-inmigrante y xenofóbica que está teniendo esta administración. So, si podemos durar un minuto de silencio, de rodillas, honorando a nuestras comunidades. So I would ask everyone to take a knee for a second as we honor our community members, our families that have been destroyed, and to do a moment of silence. Thank you. Mil gracias. Enough is enough. And we are going to fight back. Cuando luchamos, cuando luchamos, cuando luchamos, cuando luchamos, se puede, se puede, se puede. All right, now I want to welcome Glenda, who is going to be our first speaker today. Quiero que me ayuden a darle el micrófono a Glenda, que va a ser nuestra primera oradora hoy.
Buenos días a todos. Mi nombre es Glenda y hoy he venido a pronunciar mi voz y también de aquellos que no pueden hacerlo por el mismo temor. Soy un inmigrante que llama al Distrito 46 su hogar.
Good morning, my name is Glenda and I'm an immigrant mother and I'm an immigrant who also calls District 46 my home.
Me presento aquí como un miembro orgulloso de casa, pero más importante aún, como una madre valiente que luchará por el futuro de mis hijos, mi familia y mi comunidad.
I'm here today as a fierce mother and also a proud member of CASA. And I am here to fight for the future of my children, my family, and my community.
Esta mañana, mientras conducía por nuestros vecindarios, no pude evitar sentir un profundo y ardiente orgullo por la diversidad y la fortaleza que definen a nuestro distrito.
This morning, as I drove through my neighborhood, I couldn't help but feel a deep, burning sense of pride for the diversity and the strength that defines our district.
Somos inmigrantes de todos los rincones del mundo, familias, niños, dueños de pequeños negocios, trabajadores esenciales, adultos mayores que buscan retirarse con dignidad.
We are immigrants from every corner of the globe, families, children, small business owners, essential workers, seniors, trying to retire with dignity.
Esto es lo que hace que nuestra comunidad no solo sobreviva, sino que prospere.
This is what makes our communities not just survive, but thrive.
Pero hoy nuestra propia existencia está bajo ataque por parte de una administración empeñada a sembrar miedo, odio y división.
But today, our very existence is under attack by an administration bent on spreading fear, hatred, and division.
Una administración que impulsa una agenda racista y antiinmigrante que amenaza la vida y el futuro de personas como yo.
An administration that pushes an anti-immigrant and racist agenda that threatens the lives and futures of individuals like myself.
Como madre, vivo con el miedo constante y desgarrador de recibir una llamada de mi esposo, un trabajador de la construcción, diciéndome que ha sido detenido por ICE.
As a mother, I live with the constant fear that one day I will get a call from my husband, a hardworking construction worker, telling me that he's been detained by ICE.
Él trabaja en condados que han adoptado el programa 287G, donde las fuerzas del orden locales están facultadas para actuar como agentes de ICE.
He works in counties that have adopted the 287G program, where local law enforcement is deputized as ICE agents.
7 condados ya han firmado y es inaceptable.
7 counties have already signed on to this, and this is unacceptable.
Hoy exijo que mi senador Bill Ferguson y los otros senadores de Maryland se levanten y se unan a nosotros.
Today, I urge my Senator Bill Ferguson and all the other Maryland senators to stand with us.
Exijo que nos protejan de una administración que destruye familias y viola nuestros derechos humanos básicos.
I demand that they protect us from this administration that is tearing our families apart and violating our very basic human rights.
Esta es una crisis de derechos humanos que no puede esperar más.
This is a human rights crisis that cannot wait any longer.
Necesitamos un liderazgo valiente ahora.
We need brave leadership now.
Necesitamos leyes como el Value Act que nos protegerá del terror de ICE y garantizarán que Maryland siga siendo un lugar donde las familias puedan crecer y prosperar sin miedo.
We need laws like the Maryland Values Act that will protect us from the terror of ICE and ensure that Maryland remains a place where all families can grow and thrive without fear.
La historia nos juzgará por cómo respondemos a este momento y espero poder mirar atrás y decir que mi senador y los líderes de esta Asamblea General estuvieron del lado correcto de la historia. Gracias.
History will judge us for how we respond to this moment, and I hope that I can look back and say that my senator and the leaders of this General Assembly stood on the right side of history. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Now it's my honor to introduce a champion, someone who's, with his partnership, we were able to cancel the 287G agreement right here in Anne Arundel County. Compañeros, démosles un aplauso al próximo orador, que gracias a su partnership pudimos cerrar y cancelar el contrato de 287G aquí mismo en Anne Arundel County. Stuart Pittman.
Hola. Es mejor que yo no hablo español porque necesito practicar, pero ¿quién traduce? Okay. You don't have to translate that. Okay, I'll speak English now, but we'll have translation. Okay, so I was elected county executive of this county in 2018.
Fui elegido como... Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Fui elegido como ejecutivo de este condado en el 2018
with much help from Casa Maryland.
con mucho apoyo de casa.
¡Pueblo unido jamás será vencido!
So I promised when I ran that we would end the 287G program in Anne Arundel County. And when I did my inauguration speech, I said that yes, we were going to follow through with that.
Y cuando di mi discurso de inauguración, dije que sí íbamos a hacer eso.
But I also said that I first wanted to speak to our police chief and our superintendent of detention.
Y también dije que primero quería hablar con el jefe de policía y el jefe de la centro de detención.
And this is what I learned.
Y esto es lo que aprendí.
287G costs the taxpayers money.
El programa 287G le cuesta dinero a los que paguen impuestos.
We were sending our detention officers out of state to be trained by ICE while we were paying their salary.
Estábamos mandando a nuestros oficiales del centro de detención fuera del estado para que aprendieran este programa con nuestros dólares.
Our detention officer, we had a shortage of detention officers, and we needed them to be in our detention centers doing their job for our county.
Teníamos una escasa de oficiales en el centro de detención y lo que necesitábamos es que estuvieran allí.
Number two, I found out that 287G was ineffective.
Segundo, me di cuenta que el programa 287G es inefectivo.
Not a single person was turned over to ICE from our detention center until after they were convicted, sentenced, and served time for the crime they committed.
No había una sola persona que se le fue entregada a ICE antes de que pudieran haber sido convictos y sentenciados de lo que habían hecho.
That happens everywhere in Maryland. and it happens whether we have 287G or not.
Esto sucede en cualquier parte de Maryland y esto sucede sin tener estos programas 287G.
If somebody commits a crime, especially a violent crime, we don't want to free them to ICE, have them go across the border, come back and do it again. We want them to serve their time in jail, correct?
Si alguien comete un crimen, en especial un crimen violento, no queremos que sean deportados por ICE y que después vuelvan a entrar al país. Queremos que ellos sirvan su tiempo con la condena aquí, ¿verdad?
Our police chief told me that first, he was asked by the former county executive to do 287G so the police officers would check everybody's immigration status.
El jefe de policía primero me dijo que bajo el ejecutivo anterior fueron preguntados que se entraran en este programa para que los oficiales de policía pudieran hacer estos chequeos.
This man was a hardcore Republican, and he told me that he refused to do that. He refused to the county executive. He would not do this job if he was forced to do immigration enforcement.
Este hombre era un republicano bien fuerte y él me dijo a mí que él se rehusó a trabajar en este programa y se rehusía a trabajar con este programa si significaba que los policías serían agentes de ICE.
He told me that the police department's job, and this is true of sheriffs in other counties as well, is to fight crime.
Lo que me dijo es que el trabajo del departamento de policía es de mantener a la gente segura contra el crimen.
In our county at that time, we had young Latino residents who were victims of MS-13.
En nuestro condado en ese tiempo teníamos residentes jóvenes latinos que eran víctimas de MS-13.
The police chief said the only way that we can put the criminals out of business is if the police department works in trust with the community.
La única manera que podemos sacar a estos criminales fuera de nuestro condado es si el departamento de policía tiene confianza con la comunidad.
With MS-13, nobody trusted that law enforcement in Anne Arundel County, that you could go to them and report a crime. Victims had nowhere to go because of MS-13. I mean, because of 287G.
Con el programa 287G, nadie tenía confianza en nuestro departamento de policía. Nadie podía ir al departamento para reportar estos crímenes.
So when they tell you 287G makes us safer, they are lying to you.
Cuando te dicen que el programa 287G hace que nuestras comunidades sean más seguras, te están mintiendo.
We want our sheriffs to do their jobs, which is fight crime. The federal government does immigration enforcement.
Queremos que nuestros alguaciles hagan su trabajo, que es proteger la comunidad contra el crimen, y que el gobierno federal haga su trabajo en el esfuerzo de las leyes migratorias.
But the last thing I want to say is to people who believe, who ask. They say, if somebody is here in this country without papers,
pero la última cosa que voy a decir es que si alguien pregunta si alguien es aquí en este país sin documentos,
doesn't that make them criminals?
¿no los hace estos criminales?
No. First of all, it is a civil offense, not a criminal offense, to be in this country without papers.
No, primero que todo, estar en este país sin documentos es una ofensa civil, no una ofensa criminal.
But I would also remind them that people who are here without papers,
pero también les recordaría que las personas que están aquí sin documentos
making our economy work,
están haciendo que nuestra economía trabaje,
working in the small businesses that are the backbone of our economy,
trabajando en los pequeños negocios que sostienen a nuestra economía,
want to be documented,
quieren tener documentos y estatus.
And throughout our history, there have always been people who have worked here without papers.
Y a través de nuestra historia siempre han habido personas que han trabajado aquí documentos,
including Melania Trump
incluyen Melania Trump
and Elon Musk. So if you are pro-business and you are pro the economy and you are pro-America, the United States of America, you have to be pro-immigration. So let's end all of this garbage talk and call on Congress to change the laws so we have a fair immigration system.
Si ustedes con la economía fuerte, entonces estamos aquí para terminar este programa y asegurarnos que el Congreso haga algo.
And call on the Maryland General Assembly to pass the Values Act so that we can end 287G in Maryland.
Y ahora damos la voz a la Asamblea General que pase el proyecto de valores de Maryland y terminar estos programas 287G en Maryland.
Una cosa más.
Sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede.
Okay, so now we're going to welcome a great leader, our Bill Spencer, and also the chair of the Prince George County delegation, Delegate Nicole Williams.
Good morning. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. All right, I'm Delegate Nicole Williams from Prince George's County, Maryland, District 22. And we have 7 days to make this happen, y'all. We have 7 days. The House has passed House Bill 1222, which will ban 287G agreements. We need the Senate to now act. We need you to call your senator, to call the Senate president, to tell them how imperative it is to pass this bill. I have residents in my district who are scared, who are terrified, who don't know what is going to happen the next day, whether they're going to see their loved ones or not, if they leave their house, if they go to school, if they go to the doctors, if they go to church. This isn't an idea that we have. This isn't philosophical. These are real people with real lives who are scared to death. And banning 287G agreements is going to keep our communities safe.
Yes.
It will not cause the worst of the worst. If anything, it would allow everyone to feel safe. Talking to law enforcement, engaging with law enforcement, understanding that law enforcement is there for the entire community, not just for some Marylanders, but for all Marylanders. And so we need the Senate to move in the next 7 days to get this bill across the finish line. So are you with me? Are you with me? Si se puede. 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 All right, thank you so much, and I'm looking so forward to working with you. Thank you all for all of your hard work. Thank you for being here. I love you guys. Thank you so much.
And now, the chair of the Black Legislative Caucus and longtime champion for immigrant rights, Delegate Janelle Wilkins.
Good morning. Are we fired up this morning? Are we ready to get these bills passed? When I say, what do we want? I want to hear you say these bills passed. What do we want? These bills passed. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? These bills passed. When do we want it? Now. All right. I am Delegate Janelle Wilkins. I'm proud to serve as chair of the Legislative Black Caucus of Maryland. I'm a proud immigrant from a young age from Kingston, Jamaica. And I'm even more proud to be the sponsor of legislation this session to help support and protect our immigrant communities. I've got bad news and I've got some good news. The bad news is that in the state of Maryland, we cannot control Trump's immigration policies. What do we think about his new immigration policies? We are seeing lawful residents being deported. We are seeing residents of our communities being picked up and sent away. And we are seeing just harmful actions and fear that is being sown when it comes to our immigrant communities. But guess what? Here in the state of Maryland, we can do our part to protect our communities.
Yes.
And that includes ending the 287G agreements that are taking place all across our state that are harmful to immigrants. It includes protecting immigrants with my legislation that ensures that we have sensitive, sacred locations that are kept safe. Okay? We can make sure that as a state, our agencies, our schools, our places of worship, our courthouses are safe spaces for immigrants. Don't we want to see that?
Yes.
And we only have 6 days left to get it done. The clock is ticking. Every day that we wait is another day that our immigrant communities are at risk. So we want these bills done now. In the House, we got these pieces of legislation through, and we are calling on the Senate to finish the work and get it done. And we stand ready to work with our senators to close the deal. Are we ready?
Yes.
Okay, what do we want? These bills pass. When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
These bills pass.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
These bills pass.
When do we want it?
Now.
Thank you everyone for your leadership. Because you're here is why we're going to get this done. And we in the House, we stand with you, and we're looking forward to getting this done this legislative session. Thank you, Casa, and thank you.
Se puede.
Se puede.
Sí se puede.
Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Sí se puede.
Now it's my honor to introduce Dana Vickers, Executive Director of the LCOU Maryland, powerful leader who has been in partnership with CASA for decades protecting immigrant rights.
Go, Dana!
Good morning, Maryland. Good morning, CASA, our longtime partner and friends and community. I'm Dana Vickers-Shelley. That's a very safely locked. I'm Dana Vickers-Shelley, Executive Director of the ACLU of Maryland. We are made for this moment. Despite it being a tough time, we are made for this moment. Am I right?
Yes.
In the face of what seem like daily, even hourly attacks from the federal government, it's important that we stand strong together. Am I right?
Yes.
Whether in the courts, the legislatures, as these folks walk by us to do their business, let's make sure they're paying attention to what's most important. We can win. Because when we stand together across race, across documentation status, across immigration status, we are powerful. That is why it is so important to remember this truth. Immigrant justice is racial justice. And that's why I'm here today to call on our legislators to vote for the Maryland Values Act, HB 1222. 1222 must pass. 1222 must pass. 1222 must pass. 1222 must pass. We know that when our immigrant family members, neighbors, coworkers are harassed or taken away just for living their lives, for taking their children to school, driving to work, or to open their business, it hurts all of us. It's not safety, it's not justice. It's an attempt to silence them, to silence us, and to force them to live in a state of fear. and to make all of us feel less safe. Together we say no more. We have a real chance right now, to protect our communities. In just 6 days, they can end 287G agreements that let law enforcement act as ICE agents. Just last week, on these very steps where we're standing, some sheriffs from across the state were standing. They were standing on these steps telling lies and mistruths, as my mom would have said, because she said lies is a bad word, but they were lying. 287G does not stop crime. That's a fact. It just targets everyday people. By design, it pushes Black and brown folks accused of low-level offenses into the racist deportation pipeline. In Frederick County, 88% of 287G arrests are for low-level offenses. Most of them are traffic stops. Another fact, across Maryland, less than half a percent of people detained under 287G were ever convicted of a serious offense. Less than 0.5%. This program breaks down trust between law enforcement and the communities they're supposed to protect and serve. What does it say on their badges? Protect and serve. That's what we need them to do, not harass people in community. So far, there have been 2 racial profiling lawsuits against Frederick County Sheriff Jenkins. I won't tell you his whole name, you know it. I'll tell you about one. It was brought by the ACLU of Maryland and through the leadership of RISE, an important and energized community group in Frederick County. Are there any RISE members here today? The woman with whom we worked was named Sarah Madrano. She was pulled over for a broken taillight that, guess what, actually worked just fine. It was a false pretext. She was pulled aside because of her race. She was detained on the roadside, again, illegally, hoping that ICE would arrive in time so Ms. Madrano would go to jail and be deported. That's what they wanted, but guess what? That didn't happen. Thankfully, ICE didn't come for Sarah that day, but for too many others, this is exactly what happens, and we want to stop it. We must stop it. Let me be clear. 287G agreements are not about safety at all. No. It's about fear. It's about power. It's about denying people their basic humanity. But we can choose something better. We're here this morning. Obviously, we know what's better. We need Maryland to be a place where people feel safe, where people know they can run their businesses, take after their children, look after their children, live their lives freely and fairly. My friends, this is our moment. A moment for all of us who call Maryland home. Ignore what you hear coming out of Washington. Pay attention to what we're saying here today. We have the power. We have the power. We have the power. Power. We have the power. We have the power. We have the power. We got the power. We've got the power. We must end 287G. We must protect one another. We must protect each other. And we need to do it now. Please spread the word. Tell the Senate Judicial Proceedings Committee to pass a clean HB House Bill 1222 so that we can get rid of 287G agreements forever in the state of Maryland. We've got the power. We've got the power. I've got the power. You've got the power. We've got the power. Thank you so much.
So now it's my honor to introduce the Frederick County President, Frederick County Council President, Katie Nash, who has been fighting against Sheriff Jenkins, 287G, and it's a longtime leader in the community fighting for immigrant rights.
Good morning. I am Katie Nash. I'm the City Council President for the City of Frederick, and I am blessed to serve Maryland's second largest municipality. And we've had enough. We've had enough of our county sheriff dictating public safety to us. Systems of oppression want us scared. They want us exhausted. They want us focused on what we don't know, fearful of what is to come. But let's talk about what we do know. Those occupying the White House have an agenda that we must oppose. But this is Maryland. In Maryland, we have a Democratic supermajority.
Yes.
We have a Democratic supermajority in the House
Yes.
and in the Senate.
Yes.
We have a Democratic governor.
Yes.
In my home county, I have a Democratic county executive. I have a majority Democratic county council, and my city council is majority Democratic. Now, why do I bring this up? In Maryland, the Democratic Party is called, we are called to be the party of opposition. We are called to oppose. We also know that 287G is ineffective. This is a fact. We know that it directs much needed resources, public safety resources, and it only exists to be a political talking point for those who support the White House agenda.
Ooh.
And it serves to oppress communities like mine in the city of Frederick. The Maryland Values Act, HB 1222, will end the practice of our local law enforcement agencies as immigration agents and instead return them to the community policing our residents deserve. Now, we know this to be true. But we also know, that the greatest sin is to have the power to act, to have the power to change, and then do nothing. Yeah. And we know this, and that's why we keep showing up. And that's why you keep showing up. And that's why HB 1222 will pass. You notice I'm looking over here for senators. I'm looking for senators that are on the JPR committee. Sorry, just want to make sure we're focused. So I thank you for showing up. I thank you for demanding that others show up as well. And I thank you for those who are in the position to oppose and those who are standing up to do something about it and for taking action. Let's work together to pass HB 1222.
Yes! Thank you so much. And now it's my honor to introduce Pat Smith, representing that NAACP Washington County, fighting to end the newest 287G agreement here in Maryland.
Good morning, Maryland.
Good morning.
My name is Taj Smith, and as president of the Washington County NAACP, I'm here to support the Maryland Values Act, which aims to eliminate 287G agreements. Eat it. Is that better? Yes. I can't eat the mic, sorry. We have heard the fear-mongering rhetoric of the white rural sheriffs, but we must ask ourselves, is there any factual basis to need these agreements?
No.
There is no data linking the cause of the fentanyl crisis to immigrants, documented or undocumented. No statistics show increased crimes in areas where immigrants reside. The real issues we face are increased poverty, a housing crisis, and a lack of mental health resources.
Yes.
Sheriff Albert, we do not support agreements that will divert resources away from community policing for a problem that does not exist. 287G agreements make communities less safe because they reduce trust and cooperation with local law enforcement. Washington County thrives on the contributions of immigrants, and we value them as our neighbors. We want policing to remain community-focused, building trust and encouraging everyone, especially immigrants, to report crimes without fear. 287G agreements increase racial profiling, wrongful detention, and create due process violations. Those detained are rarely of European descent, showing the racist bias of these agreements. We should be terrified to live in a state where people can be detained simply because of the color of their skin. Sheriffs say that 287G only targets violent criminals, but that simply is not true. Most detainers were for people with either no criminal conviction or a minor misdemeanor. Local police can report individuals who commit violent crimes to ICE without an agreement.
Pass the bill! Pass the bill! Pass the bill! Pass the bill! Pass the bill!
The only reason for these agreements is to target people who look like immigrants, meaning anyone who is brown and black in our rural communities. The Maryland welcome sign says, "Leave no one behind." This includes immigrants.
Pass the bill! 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 Pass the bill!
We all have the right to exist without fear of prejudice from law enforcement, and it's time to take a stand and show that Maryland does not allow fear-mongering and misinformation to drive its laws and policies. Senators, vote yes to HB 1222 and end 287G agreements in Maryland.
Se puede. Se puede. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Sí se puede. Oui, nous pouvons. 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 Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me how democracies look like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me how democracies look like.
This is what democracy looks like. Thank you. Now it's my honor to introduce Nathan Schimmer, the Maryland Policy Directors for Jews United for Justice, our partner in many of our campaigns fighting for justice.
Good morning. My name is Matan Zemmer. I'm the Maryland Policy Director at Jews United for Justice. I'm also the son of an immigrant father and a family that spans numerous continents. At JUFJ, we organize more than 6,000 Jews and allies across Maryland in support of local campaigns for racial, economic, and social justice. All people, no matter where we come from, what our religion is, what our language is, should be able to live in peace with our families. But certain politicians and non-politicians in the federal government are trying to consolidate their power by tearing communities apart and sowing fear and division based on where people were born. Shame. Jews know very well that people who come here seeking safety, freedom, and opportunities for their children, as many of us and our ancestors did, are integral parts of our communities and must be treated with fairness, dignity, and respect. The insistence that we behave with care toward the stranger is the most repeated commandment in the entire Torah, and is a core value that's shared across faiths. That's why more than 250 faith leaders, congregations, and organizations signed on to a letter last month calling on the governor and the General Assembly to take action to protect immigrants by passing the full immigrant justice package. JUFJ is a proud and longtime partner of CASA's, and we have been honored to be a part of securing critical wins for immigrants in Maryland over the last few years. This has included, but is not limited to, shutting down the detention center in Howard County to demand that Howard County stop profiting off of ICE. I know many of you were there with us. We also passed the Access to Care Act, expanding critical healthcare access to everyone in the state of Maryland. We also passed the Driver Privacy Act, ensuring that ICE cannot and other federal agencies can't just go roaming around without a warrant into critical personal data, and we are going to expand on that this year. Is that right? Those are just a few examples. So JUFJ remains committed to the most sacred teaching of Judaism, that all people are created B'Tselem Elohim, in the image of the divine, and that we are required to treat everyone, regardless of where they were born or what papers they possess, with dignity and respect. We know that it is only through collective care, power, and action that we will win shared safety for everyone. So my final statement here, to our representatives here in Annapolis, we say it's time to pass the Maryland Values Act without harmful amendments. It's time to end this harmful, racist, wasteful, and ineffective 287G programs in our state. And finally, now is the right time to do what is right. Thank you.
Now it's my honor to introduce Reverend Kevin Slayton, who has been leading the interfaith community here in Maryland.
Good morning. Good morning. Before I begin, I want to invite my friend Senator Muse to come up and join me. Give him a hand, Senator Muse. As he comes, I've asked him to join me. As God would have it, he was not planned, he just happened to be strolling there. We're both believers of the Protestant faith, which is a Christian belief that suggests these simple words, that the earth is the Lord's, and the fullness thereof, the world and they that dwell therein, because God founded it that way. We are a part of the they, and we have a responsibility to make sure that they don't get amnesia. Amnesia allows you to forget from whence you've come. I must remind you all that none of us were born here. We're all immigrants. We're all tied, as Dr. King says, to a single thread of destiny. And because of that, I really want to emphasize this message that as we arrive in this part of God's earth, that we not become so removed from the idea that we're all immigrants. So that means we can't forget or treat anybody else less than amongst ourselves. We must first be unified with one another. And then when we begin to see that the Imago Dei, which is the image of God that is all of us, is really reinvented to say that the Imago Dei is the DEI. That means it is the diversity, the equity, and the inclusion of all of our collective voices. Standing together on the premises that this world belongs to all of us. That justice belongs to all of us. There is no difference in black, white, Jew, Asian, Latina. We're all God's children. Red and yellow, black and white, we're all perfect in God's sight. So I don't speak Spanish. I don't speak any other, I don't speak Chinese or Japanese. I speak East Baltimore. And East Baltimore says, hell no to 287G.
Man, how did you come behind that? And what do you say? First, let me say good morning. Pastor says, what does the Lord require of you?
but to do justice. Not just to talk about it, to do justice, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with our God. I believe that with all of my heart. As a presiding bishop, I preside over hundreds and hundreds of congregations. And to them, I remind all of the pastors that when we come together as one. Sometimes I have to remind my Democrats and my Democratic brothers and sisters back here that we are not Republicans. And we can put on the name Democrat all we want if we do not support the values of people. We're not Republicans. I believe that Trump has lost his mind. I'll say it out loud, that he's one of the most hateful persons I've ever met in my life. And I want you to know that I'm with you on your issues. And I'm with you on your issues. I haven't just said that. I've taken a lot of knocks and bumps. I'm probably going to lose some bills because of this. But he who fights and runs and goes away lives to fight another day. I know I'm standing for what is right. I know I'm standing for the issues that matter to people. I'm West Baltimore. I'm formerly Park Heights Avenue. So they may not mess with me, but so much. You know what I'm saying? I'm with you in spirit. I'm with you in heart, and anything that I can do, please let me know. I wanted to stop and come by here just to let you know that you are loved and that in the name of the one that I serve, justice will be done. One way or another, justice will be done. God bless all of us.
Familia, we only have 6 days left. Solo tenemos 6 días más y estamos aquí porque vamos a seguir luchando. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. El pueblo unido jamás será vencido. Se puede, sí se puede, se puede, sí se puede, se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede, sí se puede. Sí se puede, sí se puede.
Oui, nous pouvons. 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 Se puede. Sí se puede. Up with liberation.
Down with deportation.
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 Se puede.
Sí se puede.
Thank you everyone for being here with us today. Mil gracias a todos por estar aquí, being shoulder to shoulder with our community. Now is the time to be together. Now it's the time to be united. So thank you so much for being here with solidarity. And we are going to ask everyone to come to the front for a group photo. Mil gracias a todos por estar aquí en solidaridad con nuestra comunidad. Este es el tiempo de estar unidos. Por favor, si podemos pasar todo al frente para hacernos una foto en grupo.